You eat protein, for example, in eggs, bean, and cheese. Recall that proteins are a chain of amino acids, which come in 20 different varieties. After you eat the protein, where do they go? This is protein metabolism, all the chemical reactions with protein. So here is your protein, which is a long chain of amino acids. The first thing that happens to the protein that you eat in the food is that they are broken down into individual amino acids. Essential amino acids are those that our body cannot synthesize. Instead, these must be consumed in our diet. For example, the amino acid tryptophan is essential, which is found in turkey and corn, among other items. Lysine is another essential amino acid that you need to eat and can be found in many beans. Notice that corn and beans have quite a few essential amino acids. Vegetarians who don't eat meat, which naturally has a lot of protein, can still have a healthy, complete diet. They just need to get their essential amino acids from other sources, such as beans and vegetables. This is also why beans and vegetables can be considered healthy. Who eats rice and beans? Why? Rice lacks the essential amino acid methionine, but has plenty of lysine. And beans lack lysine, but have plenty of methionine. So you eat them together. There are even some genetically modified veggies to include all of the essential amino acids. Complete proteins contain adequate amounts of all the essential amino acids. You need all 20 amino acids at all times for many functions, such as tissue maintenance and growth. Adults have 8 essential amino acids listed here. And infants have an additional 2 essential amino acids. Notice corn and beans can provide all the essential amino acids, the other amino acids your body can make given other proteins you ate. Now, once you eat protein in the food, your digestive system breaks the long chain of amino acids down into individual amino acids. It is catabolism because you are breaking a large protein into smaller pieces, the amino acids. These individual amino acids are the building block to then make new protein that you need. We call the process of protein synthesis, where you take your DNA instructions and then go through transcription to make mRNA. Then you go through translation to make protein. In translation, the tRNA molecule match to the mRNA and bring in a specific amino acid. They have to have the amino acids which come from the protein you eat. At the end of translation, you make the protein that you need. For example, let's say you ate beans, but you need to make hemoglobin. You would break down the protein in the beans and then use the individual amino acids during translation to make the protein hemoglobin for your red blood cells. Of course, proteins have many different functions, such as for cell structure, enzymes, and muscle tissue. Remember we said as adults, there are 8 essential amino acids that our body cannot make? The other 12 are called non-essential, and you can make them. If non-essential amino acids are needed, you convert them from existing ones. This process is called transamination. Proteins have a variable amine group, which give them their unique identity. By switching some of these amino groups and reconfiguring, you can get a different amino acid, such as here, glutamic acid into aspartic acid. That way, you can make the amino acids that you need from what you already have. Excess protein cannot be stored, but we don't want to waste it. So let's see what we can do with our extra protein if we ate too much of it. What we will do is take off the amine group, which is NH3. This process is called oxidative deamination. D is the removal, and amination is for the amine group. The reason why is that NH3 is very versatile in what you can do with it. Let's look at some options. A, send the NH3 to the liver and excrete it in urine as urea. B, use the NH3 to make acids that can then enter the citric acid cycle in cell respiration, which can then be used to go into electron transport chain to make ATP energy. C, use the NH3 to make glucose. This is called gluconeogenesis. Let's break that down. Genesis is to make, gluco is for glucose, neo means new. In other words, you are making glucose from a new source that is not carbs, in this case, protein. This can happen in a diabetic that cannot make or transport glucose in a normal way. Then this newly made glucose can then be used as a starting point for cell respiration. Lastly, excess protein can be stored as fat. Notice anything, carbs, fat, and protein you eat in excess can be converted and stored as fat. That is why you hear to eat everything in moderation. Recall that protein should not be your main source of energy. Notice it only comes up here when you have excess carb. You have excess. Carbs would be your main source of immediate energy and stored up energy in muscles, and fats can be used as stored energy. Another thing to note is that if someone is in a long-term starvation mode and does not have enough intake of carb or any stored fat to use, their body might resort to using muscle mass, which is protein, as a source of energy. Then you might notice that their muscles are breaking down. This is definitely not a good sign. We just discussed what happened to the proteins that you eat. The first thing you do is break it down into individual amino acids. Then the number one priority for those amino acids is to use it in protein synthesis to build up other proteins that are needed. Second is transamination, where you make other amino acids needed for protein. Third is oxidative deamination to take off the NH3 group, which can then be secreted as urea waste, converted into acids or glucose to be used in cell respiration to make ATP energy, or stored as fat. Now, you try to explain where proteins go with this diagram in your own words. To summarize protein metabolism again, proteins are broken down to amino acids. Amino acids go through first, protein synthesis to build up new protein. Second, transamination to make non-essential amino acids. And third, oxidative deamination to produce urea waste, acids, and glucose for ATP and fat.